This episode is brought to you by Red Range Stock Supplements. Red Range is a locally owned family-run business based in Kununurra, Western Australia and servicing the whole northwest. They offer a range of custom blended supplements for cattle and horses tailored specifically to your individual requirements. For more information or to discuss your supplement needs, please visit redrangestocksupplements.com.au. Listening to the Central Station podcast, where we bring you stories of what life in the outback is really like and why many wouldn't live anywhere else. So pull up a stump, pop the billy on, or crack a cold one, as we talk to the men and women who call some of the most remote parts of Australia home.
What would you do if you knew your life was going to change irrevocably and there was nothing you could do to stop it? That's the predicament Mitch Scott found himself in when he was diagnosed with Usher syndrome, a rare genetic disorder primarily characterized by deafness and a progressive loss of vision. In this episode, Mitch speaks about his diagnosis and the decision to leave the life he had planned behind to head north and work on outback cattle stations. To start, I asked Mitch what he was currently watching, reading, or listening to.
Oh, them podcasts I'm not like a big fan of. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of them, to be honest. Like, I've heard a couple. Like, I've listened to this one. I listened to the one of Dusty and Jody at Florina, but like I remember that was on the plane, but it's too hard for me to hear. Like, that's the hard part. It's like same with music. Like, it's so hard to hear. But yeah, it's not too bad these days because the iPhones you can actually use to, like, you know, suit for your hearing. So yeah, you'll see me more outside than sitting inside. Like, even when I was a kid, I was always outside. Like, I'm not one of them kids that play PlayStation or anything like that. I was always outside doing something, you know, riding the motorbike, building stuff. Like, yeah, not that I don't like that, like, you know, internet and stuff, but I'm just more, you know, not drawn to it.
So you were only partway through your electrical apprenticeship when you went to Ag Workforce to get a job on a station. Why did you'd already committed to an apprenticeship. Why did you want to leave that to come up north?
During my apprenticeship, started, like, you know, just struggling, like, you know, driving to work in the city in the dark, and it was just like something's not righty. So I went and got my eyes checked out, and yeah, they were like, we might need you to go see someone else. And you're like, okay, then went somewhere else and like did like real extensive tests. Like, I was you're sitting like a bowl, and you're looking at this bowl, and you got to stare at this dot and center, and they shine lights everywhere, and you got to press a button. So like that checks like your peripheral vision. Then they hooked up wires in my head, and literally just put me in a dark room for like 15 minutes, just sat there, like, wires hooked up, nothing like to do or anything like that, just pitch black. And then they just put this computer on and just it would flash all these certain lights, and then they'd just read that and like how my brain processed it, which was like weird but kind of like creepy because like this is not right. And then it was probably a couple of weeks later, a month or something like that, went to the doctor, and he's like, well, from what we've got here, you've got juvenile X-linked retinitis, which is like a genetic issue that males only get because women have an XY where males only have XX. And then there was a retinitis pigmentosa, which is like swelling in the back of my retina. So I had pigmentation and swelling, and I was like, oh, this is not good. Like the doctor tells you, like, don't look into it too much, but any person's going to look into it because that's when you start shitting yourself and going, what's going on here? Like, this is Like, you think I'm fine, but I'm not fine. Like, someone's telling you something else. Like, kept going back just to regular checkups, and we're starting to get a bit of an idea. And he said Usher syndrome, which is what he thinks was most suited to me. And then by then, gave me some information for genetic testing just to break down, make sure it is this syndrome, which is Usher syndrome. So yeah, like that Usher syndrome, it wasn't like confirmed. It was just a guess. So yeah, like just from being doing my apprenticeship and hearing about that, it was a big thing in my life, I guess. Like, just like a big shock. And like, you know, you search it up and you go, oh, you know, people in their 30s, 40s, and like that's not far away. Like, you know, I'm only 23. Like, I remember when I turned 21, like it was the other day, and it's like it starts to catch up on you. So that's when I started, you know, like, you know what, I've done a CFA, like been a firefighter back in Victoria. Like, I've done a bit of work there, like helping out. I've given an electrician a crack. Like, I thought it was going to be for me, and now the only thing I've got left is like go north and just work in a station, just go live the dream. And that's me right now, just living the dream, I guess.
So I just want to talk about Usher syndrome for a moment. What is the effect that it has?
So Usher syndrome, there's 3 types. So I'm type 2, so which is, they're all pretty similar. But for type 2, you're born with a mild to moderate hearing loss, so it's just hearing aids fix that. And then in your mid to late teens, you'll start to lose like night vision, because that's your most sensitive type of vision. So that deteriorates first, and then eventually you'll lose your peripheral vision, which just goes into a tunnel vision later on during life. So that's type 2 Usher syndrome. Like, there are type 3, which is very rare. You don't have very good balance, but that was never me. Like, I was playing every sport you could play, like footy, basketball, like anything you think of. I've given a crack, tennis, like just a whole lot. So that when I finally got diagnosed, that was this end of last year.
So it was about 3 to 4 years ago that you had your initial test with the doctor, and they made a prognosis, which is basically a educated guess. You know, they couldn't confirm a diagnosis without the genetic testing. And then it was about a 3 to 4 year gap before you actually got the confirmation of exactly what it was. Why did it take so long to get that confirmation?
Probably because I ran away to ENT, just thought it would fix everything, but which like it did. But it is because it's so rare, this condition, like it's, you know, the government are going to put money into it, and they won't do the testing unless they get the money for it. And it was just, you just got to apply for it, and then eventually when they get the money, they'll study it and whatever and use it for like future testing and anything like that. So yeah, it was a bit of a wait to actually finally hear from it.
What was it like having to wait such a long period of time? Essentially you were living in limbo with this educated guess of what you might have, but you didn't really know, and that was 3 years of your life. What was that like?
It was probably like just after my first year of apprenticeship, that's when I got checked, and then I did another probably couple of months that like doing the same job, same place, like same company. So I did 3 months at the same company, and then I couldn't do it anymore. Like, it just wasn't right after finding out about everything. So I tried, like, you know, stay in electrical trade, do a bit of solar and a bit of domestic, and the same thing, that just didn't fit like me. After like probably 6 to 9 months, there was a bit of a period where I was a bit lost. So that's where I, you know, decided, you know, apply ag workforce and got a job working in Alroy. And it was honestly a good move for me, but I was still, like, you know, wasn't like reassured that everything was going to be okay. And probably till in the last year when they gave me that results, I finally like started to find myself. Like, I was very lost. I wasn't in the right mindset. So like, I wasn't happy with myself, anything like that. Couldn't get up in the morning sometimes, couldn't go to sleep because it was just a big issue running through my mind all the time. And like it did play on me at work. Like it was one of the hardest things to do working here. And same as Alloy, just trying to deal with it all.
You mentioned earlier that type 2 doesn't just affect vision, it also affects hearing, and that you had some hearing issues since you were a child, but, you'd been wearing hearing aids for that. Did you ever think, you've already got one, it would have been, you've got hearing aids and that certainly alleviates some of those issues, but did you ever think, like, I've already got one thing, how come there's a second thing now? Like, isn't it just enough to have one thing?
Yeah, so growing up with like hearing aids, because I had them such a young age, it wasn't a big issue for me. Like, one of the first memories I could remember when I was like 3, which was when like I got me hearing aids. The first ever memory I could probably remember that far back was going outside. Like, it was almost like late afternoon, and I'm like to my mum, like, "What's that sound?" And she's like, "What sound?" I'm like, "That sound." And I couldn't describe the sound, but she's like, "Crickets." And I'm like, "What's the crickets?" And like, I can't hear them with my hearing aids out, like, at all. Like, that's the first memory I could probably remember, like, was that far back, was getting my hearing aids, just hearing things for the first time that, like, you wouldn't hear for, like, 3 years almost, because that's how long I didn't have them. But, like, hearing aids, it's just like any person wearing glasses to me. Like, they're there to assist you more than to, like, help you. Just, they're more of a tool than something that you depend on. It was never a big issue for me with hearing aids. Like, everyone knew me through primary school, high school, and what was wrong with me, it was just normal.
Now, you'd said that your list of things that you wanted to do was CFS, the Country Fire Service.
Authority. Yeah,
CFA. I think maybe it's CFS in like South Australia or somewhere else. Yeah,
South Australia and New South Wales are all different. Yeah.
And then be a Sparky. So that was when you'd done your electrical apprenticeship, and then cattle stations. But where you didn't grow up anywhere near a cattle station, though. You grew up kind of as far away as you could be down in Victoria. So how do you even know what a cattle station is growing up in Victoria, and how did that make it onto your list?
So when I grew up, we grew up on 75 acres. We had probably a handful of cattle, just some Angus, just your plain land Angus. And that wasn't too bad, like, just cows, like, to me, like, when you grow up. And same thing, we had about 10 horses in the property as well. And it was always something like, I was always outside and I was always around, and it was just normal for me. So I guess when I got, like, had that choice of coming up north, it was just felt like home in a sense, if that makes sense. Like, it just was me. Like, it's what I've grown up around, like, just on a bit bigger of a scale. Like, so yeah, it's just something that just fit me almost, something I could understand.
Tell me about your work on cattle stations. What sorts of jobs have you done and what's involved in it?
Depends. I'm not to, like, brag about it. Like, for some people, I'm pretty handy in a sense. Like,
I've had half a dozen people tell me that before I even met you, that you're pretty handy, which is why you're going to look at my car tomorrow morning.
Yeah. So I'm always that person that just helps out no matter what, with anything. If they can't think of, like, someone, then they're probably thinking of me straight away. Like, I can almost do anything you wanted me to do. It's just, it sucks for me because I always get stuck in that job. So it was like at Alloy, I was the only one that could, weld or drive trucks or fix, like, electrical problems or just anything. And that's where I probably didn't get stuck in the stock camp, like, working with the crew. And as much as I come up here to work with, like, a crew of people, work with cattle, I just got dragged in the deep end, like, just bore running, driving road trains, just a whole lot, really.
Yeah, handy people are pretty hard to come across sometimes. So I can imagine that when people get one, they want to hold on to you and make the most of it. But are you in the stock camp at
Sanford?
Yeah, I love that. I forget where I am. I started off the day at Bear and Doodoo, everyone. So I don't know where I am right now.
Oh, I'm pretty much, like, last year I was in the stock camp, but it's like, if there was something that needed to be done, I was back here, like, doing something. Like, if there was a turkey nest blocked, I was the first one to go swimming in that turkey nest unblock it. Like, if they had a job, it was always me doing it. But I always had one rule. I'm a sparky, not a plumber. I would not do your septics. But I got dragged into that too, so I don't know what happened to that one.
Yeah, that's a pretty rough job to be pulled into septic.
Yeah.
I mean, cow poo, one thing, if you're in the yards getting covered in that, horse poo, but people poo, like, yeah, no thanks. So what do we're in early March at the moment, and you guys have the first muster of the year tomorrow. Well, not like your traditional muster, but you're doing
just a bit of a paddock cleanup tomorrow. So
yeah. So do you ride a bike? Do you ride a horse? Like, what does life look like up here for you? It's one of the three things that you wanted to do. Tell me about living the dream.
Like when I was a kid, I was riding motorbikes every day. So I enjoy jumping on the bikes out here. So it's just something I love doing. Like, be able to drive a car, I could take the motorbike and go bush somewhere and go exploring there. I enjoyed that. Like, it is a bit harder up here because, you got your radio, you got cattle to look at, choppers to look at. So I've pretty much broken that down. So, like, I've got a headset in my helmet just so I can talk to choppers so much easier. Like, just to eliminate that factor of not hearing everyone. So I've got no excuse now. I can't ignore anyone. But yeah, so that's one thing I enjoyed doing up here, is like just big on the bikes. But also, one of the other reasons I wanted to work at Sanford was they're big on horses. So Heytesbury are very big on horses. So that's something I quite enjoyed too, because I never really got a chance to like work with horses when I was growing up, even though I grew up around horses, which was pretty hard for me because it was actually something I quite enjoyed.
What's the best part about being up here in the Territory or up north in general, out on a cattle station?
Probably the best thing about Northern Territory is just, one thing is everyone knows everyone, understands everyone. Like, you can just get along with people so easy. Like, down in Victoria, like, you look at your neighbours and they wouldn't, like, they wouldn't even wave back to you. Like, if you gave them a wave, they wouldn't even, like say hello or come have a chat. Like, out here, everyone just gets along, just wants to be your mate. Like, it's the best thing out here. Like, just, it's like almost a happy place, even though it's a bit high demand, like, some days. Is it stressful?
Is it hard, you're kind of between two worlds. Anybody that comes up here kind of has to balance two worlds, before the Territory and after the Territory. So you've got your family and your crew and your community up here, but then you've obviously got family back in Victoria. And I know we spoke off the podcast earlier. It's, it's like once you go north, everything changes. You look at everything different. And so it's kind of hard to imagine yourself going back home and staying there. So how do you kind of balance that, like missing your family and wanting to spend time with them, but then wanting to live this life up here?
There are a couple of friends that they're like family to me, like I get along well with, and I do miss them, but I'm always keeping in touch with them. But up here, everyone treats you like family as well. It's just one thing is just like you're one of them, like you're one of us. Almost like there's no backing out. Like, you're stuck with us, you can't leave. And I have to say that to everyone because everyone gets sick of me. And I'm like, well, too bad, you're stuck with me. You have to deal with my shit.
So it's only been a few years since your prognosis and then a confirmed diagnosis last year. How has your life been impacted and how has it changed from, I suppose the hearing, you've been dealing with the hearing issues since you're a child and that's kind of all done and dusted, not really an issue anymore. But, how's your life changed now that you've got both of these things to deal with?
The hearing, pretty much everyone understands. It's like a pair of glasses. Like, there has been a tough time where one of them musters, just bad luck, that rain broke on the horse and I went to pull that horse up and just pulled myself into a tree and, like, lost my hearing aid in the paddock. And, like, we were all looking for it for probably a good half an hour and couldn't find it. And it was just between that period of, like, losing my hearing aid and a month later for when it was getting replaced, it was actually really hard. Like, people don't understand, like, how important they are, but, like, it throws you off balance. And I mean, like, you almost walk in circles because your head's almost tilted to one side because you're so, like, you're listening out your other ear to, like, just be more aware. So, it has been very hard, but everyone has been good with it, which, like, I appreciate because, like, I was a prick. Like, proper prick. Oh, I wasn't happy. Like, it was, everyone just dealt with me great. So yeah.
Fair enough. Do hearing aids, can they only be used in a certain ear? Like, say you lost the one out of your right ear, can the other one, and you've only got the one left in your left ear, can you switch it between the two ears, or is it just for your left ear?
Yeah, well, it's like your AirPods. Everyone's got AirPods.
Yeah.
Like, you can't put them in the other ear. It just doesn't work.
Oh, so just the way they're physically.
Yeah, so they sit like, you know, a pair of glasses. You can't put them back to front or like upside down. It just doesn't work. So,
that would.
Like, I did have spares, but same thing is hearing aids these days talk to each other. So they're actually really well advanced these days. So I'll literally get a phone call and it comes straight to my hearing aids, or I'll just like have music playing straight to my hearing aid and just ignoring everyone. So yeah, no, it's not too bad like these days.
Have you got like another spare set now? God forbid anything should happen to the ones you've got.
Depends. I've got 2 on my left hearing aids because the set before that I lost a week before I was getting new hearing aids out of the car window because I stuck my head out the car window and just gone.
You almost need like, you know, when people have glasses and they have that little like
they tried giving me that and I was like, no, I'm not wearing them.
No. So for anybody that obviously can't see us right now because you're listening, you know when you put on a pair of sunnies and you've got like, I mean, back in the old days, the really like cool people used to have like the gold chain.
Yeah, they're like the sunny strap or something like that. Yeah.
And you know, then they kind of made a comeback like 2 or 3 years ago and everyone had like the foam or the kind of whatever that material is.
Yeah, sunny strap. The wetsuit material.
Yeah. You just need a pair of those.
Nah, they had them when I was a little kid. It's just a bit of cord that clips on the back of your ear and they were daggy, eh? They were proper daggy. They weren't like trending or anything like that.
What about like a really fine piece of like tie wire? Because God knows you've got enough hair. Don't worry, everyone will be posting a picture when we publish this episode, but you could totally hide that in your hair. And not that you should have to anyway, like make it a thing.
I'll just get an ear piercing or something like that and just tie it to the ear piercing.
Well, so I've seen somebody connect their ear pods to earrings so that if they fall out, they just hang as earrings.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's commitment, but I'll just get the long hair.
I want to see this through now. I'm like, let's go.
I'll just get the long hair. They just hold them in all right.
Meanwhile, I'm like, I wonder if we can get a blowtorch and a nail and give you a piercing tonight. So obviously, you know, you're hearing, as we've said, you've been dealing with that your whole life and, you know, you've got the odd occasion where you might lose a hearing aid and whatnot. But I suppose the sight is a much more recent development and probably the thing that takes the most adjusting to because, as you said, with hearing aids, it's like with your hearing, it's like needing a pair of glasses. Like you can resolve the issue fairly quickly. But with your sight, you can't.
So, yeah, with my eyes, I'm hearing like as good as it can be, but with my eyes, it hasn't been challenged, but it's always just been that one thing that, like, you know, you always got to be cautious about. So, like, the only issue I have to deal with at the moment is just night vision. Like, I got to get someone to hold me hand to walk me in the dark. Like, it's shocking, eh? Like, if I don't have a torch or something, like, I don't care if it's a bloke. I'm like, here, can you hold me hand? And they're like, this is awkward. I'm like, I don't care. Just don't walk me into a tree or anything like that because I'll kick your ass later.
I'm just thinking, so when we do post your picture, I'm like, I'm pretty sure there's going to be plenty of girls being like, I'll hold your hand.
Yeah, probably are.
But anyway, I digress. So this is not my matchmaking podcast. We'll do that next episode. Although everyone in advance, you're welcome. And also you're welcome. Thanks. You're welcome, Mitch. I think good things will come from this podcast. But back to the night vision thing, I guess in this job, everything you do is during the day. So, well, for the most part, you know, the duties that you're assigned are during daylight hours. But, you know, sometimes you do have early starts or late finishes. How do you, obviously you just, like you said, everyone understands and works around it. Like you just don't drive.
Yeah, so everyone understands. I'm like, they're like, you know, who's driving? They know not to ask me because they were probably scared of me driving. But like, I can drive at night fine. Like, as soon as there's a light in front of me, I'm fine. But
oh, okay. So the headlights. So yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I'm fine with that. So I'm pretty fine at night time. I just got to have a torch.
Yeah.
But where it gets a bit tricky is loading cattle first thing in the morning, like just before sun up. And that's where it's a challenge because that scares the shit out of me because you just don't know what's coming. Like, they might say, you know, you're best being hit by cattle when you're like not seeing it come because you're all, you know, relaxed and everything like that. So you're not tense, so you won't tear muscles or break bones. So, but I just don't want to deal with that because, you know, every time we load trucks, everyone understands my job is literally just get them tags ready, get them, you know, slides, oil, just make sure everything's all set. So when them cattle are ready and the trucks are ready, we'll just go. And then as soon as I can read them ear tags, that's me rule. As soon as I can read them ear tags, that's when I'm in. So, yeah.
So people are, you know, assisting you. You know, you have we've had this in a few other episodes. Hatesbury has a pretty good company culture. It's a pretty good mob of people here. So it's not really surprising that. And I guess, like you said, anyway, people in the territory are pretty accepting, laid back.
Yeah, everyone's accepting. Like
everyone helps out. So it's not a huge surprise that everyone's just helping you.
If I felt uncomfortable, you know, working in this industry or working at all, I'd back out straight away. Like I've still probably got an easy 5 years ahead of me, like at least just, like I'm sure I've got 5 years ahead of me, just, you know, keep going in this industry, keep going somewhere else. Like, so it's not something I'm worried about. Like, you just want people to be like, understand what's going on. And if there's issues, well, it's not a big deal, I guess.
How has this experience affected your mindset or your outlook on life? So with the Usher syndrome, you've started to lose the night vision or had, you know, that's been affected. And then eventually the way you described it to me off the podcast earlier is that your peripheral vision will go and then you'll end up with tunnel vision. Well, that's the the diagnosis, but you never know, of course. Yeah. But that's the projected trajectory of this. Do you call it a disease, a syndrome?
I'd just say it's a
condition.
It's just a genetic mutation.
Yeah,
the best way to put it.
Yeah.
So, like right now, the only issue with my vision is just night vision. Like, I will eventually, like, you know, that's what I'm saying. 5 years in time, like, I might start losing a lot of my peripheral vision, but today, like, there's no issue at all. Like, I'm still allowed to drive a car. I can still do this and still do that. So it's just something I'm not bothered about. So, like, I don't drag myself down about it. Like, I probably did drag myself down a lot within them 3 years period of, you know, first finding out and then that diagnosis. I was, it was just a big deal breaker for me. And then after that, it was just a lot of weight off my shoulder. Like, they could tell if you could have a family, if it was going to affect if you had a family, like just all of that, like just big weight off my shoulder, and I could, you know, just go live my life really.
So how do you, though, I mean, it's certainly not a terminal diagnosis, you know, like if somebody told you you've got cancer and that you've got a timeline on, but in a sense you do have this, you know, it is terminal for your eyesight or for, you know, you said you may very likely end up legally blind. So you still do have, you know, how do you manage that? Like you said, when you didn't know for those 3 years, when it wasn't confirmed, you had that kind of pressure, and it's kind of like this having a timeline, or how do you manage that? Because I feel like it would be very easy for anybody in this situation to just become consumed and so overwhelmed at the whole situation. But like you said, you've had some time struggling with it, but you seem to be in a really peaceful place right now, like really at peace with it. So how did you do that, especially at such a young age?
Oh, like with them 3 years, it felt like it just dragged out, like you know, days went for forever, like weeks went forever, like it just felt like 3 years was like 10 years. Where now, like, just accepting it all is just like, everything's just so easy. Like, you know, every day is just a new day. Like, you just go enjoy something different, like do something different. Like, it's like a fresh start almost. Like, just, I don't know how to put it. Like, it's real hard to describe, like, unless you know. It's really hard to describe because it's, to try and explain it to one person is very different to someone else. And, yeah.
Do you feel like a completely different person to, say, 6 months before you started noticing any issues, like that was like a whole lifetime ago and you're a different person?
Oh, I feel like I'm a completely different person. Like, I feel like I've hopefully changed for the better. Like, I don't know if I am or not, but like, you could ask someone else if I've changed, like, you know, become a better person. Like, Yeah, so like after like the diagnosis, like the proper diagnosis, it just made you like enjoy things in life, like just appreciate what's around you. Like, you know, you've only got like, so long, like not that putting a timeline on it, but like could be tomorrow, could be next week. Like just enjoy every day. It's the best day you ever had. Like just enjoy every moment you got. Like you just never know. Like it's just appreciate what you see around you, like what people have, like their stories, like especially like this podcast, like everyone has good stories. Like, yeah, I know I don't listen to them, but I've tried. Like it's pretty hard for me, but
oh yeah, you have an excuse. I was like, hang on, and then I was like, oh wait, hearing aids, yeah, that's all right. But also, good plug, 5 points.
But like it's hard because I lip read a lot more than I listen, so it's really hard for me. Like unless there's subtitles, unless you can do that for me. But yeah, I just enjoy listening to people's stories and just like, you know, imagining their memories like in my head and just, you know, like going to do stuff that no one would want to do or like rarely do or just is very, you know, out of this world. Like you just got to push yourself to the limits just to get there, in a sense, like just appreciate what's around you.
From listening to other podcasts and watching, you know, documentaries or videos or whatnot, I've seen some people or heard some people say that when they've had something significant in their life happen, that's impacted them, like whether they've, you know, lost an arm or a leg or gone deaf or blind or, you know, something major, some kind of major trauma. They've, you know, that's, you know, they've changed their life and the way they're able to live going forward. They see it. Some people have referred to it as a gift because it kind of changes. Like, is that a bit of a stretch, or would you say, you know, I mean, I guess no one would wish this upon themselves.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a gift. It's more like just, I don't know how to put it. It's not a gift, but it just opened up everything because you're so consumed by one thing and like you just, I don't know how to put it, but like it's just such a weight thinking one thing. But when it's like, when you realize it's not as bad as you got plenty of time, you actually, and you know, I don't know, it's really hard to explain.
No, I think I kind of get where you're going with that though. And I hope, I guess for people listening, like, you know, at the end of the day, any one of us could have anything happen to us at any point in time. Yeah. I remember when I used to like not want to drag myself out of bed at like 5 a.m. for like a 10K, and I'd be like, what if I get hit by a car today and like end up in a wheelchair and then I can't use my legs? Like, obviously that's a bit of a different situation. You probably shouldn't bully yourself into doing things with negative thoughts. But yeah, I get like,
it just really opens like your perspective in life and just, you know, there's going to be shit that happens. Like last year was pretty shitty for like everyone because of COVID-19. Like it just, I'm not saying it's the hardest year for me, but it would have been the hardest year for you and everyone on stations, like, and then everyone all across Australia. Just, it would have been the hardest year to deal with. And a lot of people would have shut themselves down and like realized like some people would have confined themselves a lot and they're like, you know, they could have a lot of freedom to just I don't know how to put it.
No, I get where you're going with that. How do you look after yourself? Physically, mentally, spiritually, and how has that changed since before and after this? You know, like what would you have done before and then how has that changed?
Probably just like, you know, you start the day off, just observe what's around you, like just like watch that sunrise and see what's going around. Probably, I know it sounds a bit weird, but like just appreciating like what's around you every morning and going to bed, just appreciate what's going around, like the people around you, just the environment you're in, like especially the country, like out here is amazing. Like just appreciating what's around me is probably like most important because like it is hard to come by sometimes, especially out here when it's pretty quiet.
How do you balance making the most of what time you have left with your vision or certain, you know, quality of vision as it deteriorates? But, you know, that is going to be over a period of maybe a decade, hopefully longer. You know, you never really know. But how do you go with balancing that versus just being a young person, living life, relaxing? Like, you know, do do you feel a pressure to just really like make the most of everything? Or, you know, if you spend a day just Netflixing or whatever, are you like, oh God, I just wasted a day watching TV when I could have been outside
I
seeing
sometimes
around?
think of that. Yeah, I'm like, you know, I could have been doing something like going fishing, going like exploring. But yeah, like just balancing myself. I don't know. It's a tricky question. Probably the best way to put it, just live as you don't have it, but always have that in the back of your mind, because it just makes you appreciate things a lot more. Like appreciate the people you're around, like the country you're in. Like just it makes you appreciate every day. Like it doesn't put a pressure on me anymore. Like it's almost giving me more freedom, because you know I might not be able to do this and might as well go enjoy stuff. So like last year I had a week off in Darwin. I spent a lot of money, but I was by myself. Spent a lot of money, but I went skydiving. I did the croc drive. I did everything like just touristy. But like I was like, you know what? I got the time. I might as well go give it a crack, and you know, a couple of days just do that, and then the rest of them couple of days just lay back and relax. Like I'm not saying like, you know, you got to go bust your ass and enjoy everything. Like yeah, there's some stage, like I'm not putting a timeline on it, but there's some stage it's gonna happen. If you push yourself to do everything, it's just going to make it harder for you in the long end, because it's just going to wear you down. Like you just got to, like some days you just got to sit back, relax, and just, you know, enjoy a couple shows, like movies, music, just like there's nothing wrong with sitting back and, you know, relaxing.
Looking back on your story so far in life, what is the biggest lesson that you've learned along the way?
I feel like I'm in high school getting asked all these big questions.
It's all right. This is the last question.
The main reason why, not that I want to share my story, but I want to let people know about this podcast. Like it just doesn't matter what you have. Don't sit around, do nothing, whatever, and sit on it and dwell and complain that you know, you got this much time. Just go live your life. Like just enjoy like everything around you, like the people around you. Just go enjoy everything. Like, not saying rush and go do everything, but just there's no point sitting around. Like I've been told, like there could be people that have what I have and they're sitting at home doing nothing, where I'm just living the dream, you know, working on a cattle station, living the dream, and there's people just doing nothing. So the main message is just like, doesn't matter what it is, just go give it a crack. There's nothing stopping you. It's only you stopping yourself, and that's it.
Ag Workforce specialises in recruiting for agricultural jobs including farm work, station work and agribusiness across Australia. View current jobs, advertise a position or register as a job seeker at agworkforce.com.au.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend or leave us a review. It really helps other people find our podcast. You can find our website at centralstation.net.au, where we have over 1,200 stories published from across Northern Australia. All of our podcast episodes, a tourism directory for visiting an outback cattle station, and training and employment resources. We're on Facebook at Central Station, True Stories from Outback Australian Cattle Stations, and we're on Instagram at centralstation.net.au, and we're also on Twitter at centralstation6. To discuss this episode with other listeners, head on over to our Facebook group, Central Station Podcast.